If you want to develop into the best possible version of yourself you can be, and you want your relationship to follow the same trajectory, then you should never look to live with your in-laws or parents.
She say, do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed and my mom, I'm sorry.
Hey guys, your boy Buck says, back again for another video this week. Here we have the difficult conversations that no one else in society is having. In my experience, I've never seen a single example of where the positives outweigh the negatives of living with your parents or your in-laws. That may be very anecdotal, but I don't think people know the freedom, the autonomy that they're giving up. I get the point around wanting to look after your parents, but actually it's so moot, because a lot of the people I know that live with their parents look after them. Parents still cooking, cleaning, doing their laundry, picking up their dishes. Loads of people mollycoddling their kids still, and kids just need to grow up and leave and develop in their own possible way. In reality, honestly, I come back to the positives, negatives. I can't evaluate a single upside. I can't think of a single upside of living with your parents or in-laws after marriage. The only one I can think of is money and saving money to get on the ever increasingly difficult property ladder. But at least for the first 6 months to 2 years of your relationship, right? The cost of rent, which will be what? At most, somewhere between 20 to 30 grand worth of rent between you, 15 grand, which is about 1 grand a month, yeah? To have freedom and autonomy to build absolute necessary foundations for your marriage to thrive on. That seems well worth the cost and well worth the money. And I don't think people evaluate that. What's the difference really? It's just ownership, isn't it? Your bank being your landlord, or you renting from someone whose bank is their landlord. I mean, it's all semantics. Honestly, I cannot understand people that would choose money over their freedom and autonomy, because I don't think people choose to care about their parents. I don't think that's the driving factor, because I know a lot of people that are just there for the sake of being there and as some form of label, or just to leverage against any sort of emotional blackmail or a difficult conversation, as I've explained previously. I'll tell you all the downsides now. All the downsides. The first one is lack of intimacy and emotional awareness. How can you be physically and emotionally affectionate with your partner in front of your parents, at least in an optimal way, especially within those first few months? We're told for our whole life to save a lot of those most intimate moments for after we get married, and now you expect to do them in front of your parents. You can't express yourself physically. How can you express yourself? I hope people know what I mean by that. There is multiple layers of complexity, multiple. You know, in managing your mother's relationship with her daughter-in-law, your mother's relationship with your father, your relationship with your mum, your relationship with your dad, maybe your wife's relationship with your brothers and sisters, and, you know, how she appears in front of them. Like, in an ever increasingly complex life, you're adding another layer of complexity into it. Why? When marriage is already hard, when you're learning about someone else's emotional bandwidth and how to function with them, when you both most likely ain't lived separately anyway, and then you're learning with your parents there. It makes no sense to me. It's so stressful. You will always be leveraged into making a decision, whether that's between any member of your family. Like, the worst one would be your mum and your wife, right? Who's most important there? Really and truly, I'm lucky, because my wife and I have accepted that our parents are more important to us. Actually, we don't live with them, but we've accepted that because, you know, parents are, in Islam, they're supposed to be more important. But at least I think in those first few years of marriage, there has got to be this thing where people understand that you have to prioritize maybe your relationship in the infancy of it, right? In its inception, to kind of put down good foundations. How are you supposed to put good foundations down with like 8 separate architects with differing views on how the world works, differing views on what to prioritize? It's just crazy to me. You lose, oh my god, you lose a level of autonomy and you lose freedom. Right? I want to get a takeaway. Oh, that's a bit rude. You should be cooking. I don't like takeaways. I don't like this. I don't like that. I want to go out to a shisha bar till after 2 a.m. I hate shisha, full disclaimer. But I want to go to a movie. I want to go out with my friends. I want to stay late for a games night. It looks rude, right? It looks rude. And generational differences. And differences should be celebrated, right? We should be more tolerant, but we're not, right? Differences always lead to conflict, and they lead to the biggest possible conflicts. And they lead to conflict which you can't take back. That's the biggest thing, right? Because you will be judged for your conflict, right? You won't judge it because you'll get into conflict with a person you love and you'll move past it and understand. But conflict from the outside looking in is very different and very difficult to take. And actually, it's not just unfair on you, it's unfair on your parents. Your parents have looked after you for all your life, and when you have to make a difficult decision as to, oh, I need to spend a bit of money to get married because I should be an adult, You're just taking the easy road and living with your parents. Why? Just because you want to save money and get on a fake property ladder with a fake pole and a fake deed. What does that mean? You're a hard man or something? I honestly don't get it, man. It's time people learn that they need to grow up, really, and take ownership of their life and ownership of their own family, just as our parents have done, right? It's not fair on your family to continue to look after you, look after your relationship, look after everything else while you just work and save for a future that really, once you do get your house, I don't see how many people care for their family after that. It's a joke. And then on top of that, right, people live their lives in different ways, right? If you live with your parents, if you live with anyone, you're beholden to their standards. And I see a lot of people that live with their in-laws and then they don't respect the way their in-laws live, right? So you're there to save your money, but you can't live by their rules. So that's fine. You want to live with your in-laws, you live by their rules. They are right. They want you to eat with them all the time. They want you to cook a certain amount of times a week. You live by their rules, especially when they're giving you a massive part of their life and a massive element of their hard work. Our parents are high-functioning members of society nowadays. They have their own pressures. They don't have to manage your relationship, or they don't have to give you a leg up. I'm sure lots of parents like to, but that's the easy way out for them. It's the easy way out for you. Continue to have difficult conversations and assess your own development. And I don't think this video is exclusive to relationships. My biggest regret in life, is not moving out when I was 25. I stagnated. I did not develop as a person. I overstayed my welcome at home. My dad always said to me, when you come to 18, you should leave this house. And he was 100% right. Because I was stagnant, playing video games, sitting down, adopting bad habits. In no way did I ever get to that point where I developed. You know, at my previous job, I was one of 2 people that were living at home still, 2 people. And it's not about embarrassment. I don't care about embarrassment. I care about being the best possible version of myself I want to be. And if you want to be the best possible man, best possible woman, you should both equally, financially, emotionally, look to build your own future instead of relying on your parents to bail you out for the rest of your life. And that's what Bucks has to say for this week.